everyone. Welcome to Actual English. I'm Jennifer Clyde. It's time for lesson 381, and today's topic is the Lunar New Year. Now, part 1, we'll be dealing with traditions. So first of all, there is New Year's Day, but some people celebrate New Year's Day on the very 1st of January, which happens to be the very first day of a brand new year. Now, in that case, people are going by the solar calendar. Okay, what about the Lunar New Year? According to the lunar calendar, these dates may change every single year. And I think a lot more people celebrate New Year's Day according to the lunar calendar. So we'll talk about that and specifically focus on the traditions, the things that are done on New Year's Day. So what are some traditions? Common traditions are visiting family members, visiting our ancestors, perhaps visiting grave sites or tombs. You may even go to your grandparents' place where your aunts and uncles and all your cousins, nieces and nephews are gathered together. You may even bow to them, right? And get some money as gifts. And there's a lot more that people do, including, I guess, playing games, eating a lot of good food, and much more. So we'll be talking about that today. Okay, if you're ready, let's begin with Actual Talk.
Do you have any nieces or nephews?
I do now.
Yeah?
I'm married now, so I have a new family.
I remember when I lived in Japan, all my Japanese friends, I was 11 to 15 when I was living in Tokyo.
Wow.
And all my Japanese friends around the holidays suddenly had all this money. They were rich. I was like, where are you getting all this money? And it was always a competition. How much did you make this year?
Wow.
The tradition of giving children money on New Year's. And now, I didn't get to enjoy that as a child. But now that I'm an adult, now I have nieces and nephews. So I have to give money, the money I never got.
Yeah, so you're doubly out of pocket. Yeah, I'm in exactly the same situation, actually.
Yeah.
I have two nieces here now.
Okay.
So every new year that rolls around, all the family gets together and they do all of the traditional Korean things, such as, giving thanks to ancestors, visiting the grave, and then bowing to your elders.
Yeah.
And the nieces bow to us, and then we give them money. And exactly as you said, I didn't get the money, and now I have to give out the money.
Yeah.
And they love it. It's fantastic. Do you guys do anything similar to that in America?
Not really, no. I think New Year's isn't really so family-oriented in America.
Okay.
Here I feel like, because there's the two New Years. You have the Western New Year's, which is on January 1st, and then you have Lunar New Year, which is in February, right? So we don't celebrate Lunar New Year in America.
Okay.
So yeah, it's not really family time.
No.
Welcome back, everyone. That was a conversation between Mary and Martin, and these two were obviously talking about traditions related to the New Year, specifically focusing on the Lunar New Year. We'll be talking about the slight differences as in dates when it comes to the New Year, as in Solar New Year, and the Lunar New Year. But first of all, let's see what they begin by saying in this conversation. First of all, Mary says, do you have any nieces or even nephews? These words here may be very easy words for many of our viewers out there, but just in case, just as a reminder to help you refresh your memory, niece, N-I-E-C-E, is what? A niece would be the daughter of your sister or your brother. Then what about nephew? N-E-P-H-E-W. A nephew would be the son of your sister or brother. Okay? So Mary's asking Martin whether his sister or brother has any kids, children, daughters or sons. So she's asking, do you have any nieces or nephews? Martin says, I do now. I'm married now, so I have a new family. So he's talking about his state now. Now that he is married, he's saying that he does have a new family. Moving on, Mary says, I remember when I lived in Japan. How old was she? I was 11 to 15 when I was living in Tokyo. So she was quite young when she lived in Japan, Tokyo, Japan. And she says, all my Japanese friends around the holidays. Okay. I guess this is close to the holiday season or during the holiday season. What happened? They suddenly had all this money. They had a lot of money. She's talking about her Japanese friends, right? Okay. They were rich, and I was like, meaning I thought to myself, where are you getting all this money? And it was always a competition. I guess a competition between her friends, okay? And they would often ask each other, how much did you make this year? Okay, they're not necessarily making money, right? They're not working hard to actually make money, but we're talking about the total amount of money they collected that year. Do you remember when you were little? I remember when I was little, we used to do like sebe, right? Bow to the elders of our family, to our aunts and uncles and our grandparents, and they would give us money as a gift, and they would wish us good luck for the new year, right? So whenever I got all the money, I collected all the money, I would count how much I had in total, and I would kind of compete with my other cousins. I would ask them, so how much do you have this year? How much did you get this year? So that is exactly what Mary's talking about. She's talking about what her Japanese friends would ask each other. They would ask each other, how much did you make this year? How much money did you collect in total, in other words? All right. Okay, so Martin, this may be new to him, so he says, wow, okay. The tradition of giving children money on New Year's. All right, this whole sentence can be helpful. You can use this sentence in any situation when a foreign visitor asks you about a tradition, okay? That's very commonly seen during the New Year. So you can say, well, there is a tradition of giving children money on New Year's Day when they bow to the elders, okay? So she says, I didn't get to enjoy that as a child. So as a child, Mary did not get the chance to enjoy that. But now, okay, now that I'm an adult, I have nieces and nephews. So what happens? I have to give money. So instead of getting money, now she has to give money to her nieces and nephews. The money I never got, she says. Okay, moving on. Yep, here we go, Martin says, so you're doubly out of pocket. Here we go. We've got a vocab word and also a pattern for us to practice today. Doubly means what? Okay, does that remind you of any other word? A very similar word. If you take out the Y and add an E, it's double. Twice the amount of. Okay, 2 times, right? Exactly. So doubly means twice as much. Twice as much, twofold, 2 times, and out of pocket. Try to imagine what that means. What do you think out of pocket means? Out of pocket, out of pocket? If you say you're out of something, it means what? It means that you don't have any of it left. You've used it all up usually. For example, if I say, oh, we're out of shampoo, it means we have used up all the shampoo and we don't have any shampoo left, right? Exactly. So this idiom, out of pocket, means that you don't have money to spend right now. All right? So he's saying, yep, so you're doubly out of pocket. You're 2 times, double the amount out of pocket with less money to spend. All right? So Mary says that's right. I'm exactly in the same situation, actually, Martin says. I have 2 nieces here now. So he has 2 nieces in Korea. So every new year that rolls around, here's a pattern. Okay, roll around means to come around, to happen. Usually if something happens regularly, something comes and goes and it returns, you would say that something rolls around. Let's say, for example, a season can roll around. Summer can roll around, meaning that it was once summer, okay, and now summer has returned. It has arrived again. So roll around means to happen again, to occur again, okay, especially regularly. We'll practice that later on. But he's saying every new year that rolls around, every new year that comes around, all the family gets together. They all get together. They all gather. They do all of the traditional Korean things. What are some traditional Korean things? Okay, things that have been done from long time ago. Giving thanks to ancestors. Okay, giving thanks to ancestors. Okay, what about visiting the grave? Visiting the grave. Grave, we're talking about the burial site where our ancestors perhaps are buried. And then bowing to your elders. Okay, so we're talking about elders, people, such as your aunts and uncles, but especially grandparents, elders in the family. So these are all traditions, okay? Moving on, the nieces bow to us and then we give them money. Sure, they bow to us and we give them money. And exactly as you said, he says to Mary, I didn't get the money, but now I have to give out the money. So he's repeating exactly what Mary said earlier on. Even for Martin, he says, I didn't get the money when he was younger, okay, when he was a child. But now, he says, I have to give out the money. Another way of putting that would be to give out, hand out, deliver sometimes, pass out. Give out basically means to give. Give, okay? You can give out something to people or give something out to people as well. Give out simply means just to give, okay? So now he's talking about how he has to give money to his two nieces, right? Okay, when they bow to him. They love it. It's fantastic. All right, here's a question for Mary. Do you guys do anything similar to that in America? What did Mary say? Not really, no. All right, now she's talking about New Year's in America. New Year's it is not really so family-oriented in America. Let's take a look at family-oriented. If you say that something is something-oriented, in this case, family-oriented, it means that something is focused on family in this case. Family-oriented, it means that this person or something is focused on family. Business-oriented, something or someone is focused on business. Okay, so family-oriented basically means that people pay attention to family. All the concentration, the focus is on family. For example, a lot of women, they dream of meeting family-oriented men, okay, to start a family with, because family-oriented men may have different definitions, family-oriented, but at its core, it basically means to appreciate family, appreciate the relationship and things related to family, okay? So perhaps if family is priority one, this person can be described as a family-oriented person. But here she's talking about New Year's, how New Year's is not really so family-oriented in America. So perhaps people get together with friends. It's not necessarily a holiday or a day spent with family in America. Here, there's the two New Years. Here we're talking about what? Korea. There are the two New Year's days. You have the Western New Year's, which is on January 1st, okay? And then you have Lunar New Year, which is in February, right? So let's take a look at Lunar. Lunar New Year and the Western New Year, or the New Year according to the solar calendar. So first of all, there's January 1st. That's New Year's Day. What about Lunar New Year? It falls somewhere in February usually, right? Or this year it falls in February. I believe it's towards the middle, somewhere in the middle of February. But lunar basically means relating to the moon, okay? So we would often say that something according to the lunar calendar. In this case, New Year's Day according to the lunar calendar. It's so long, so you would simply call it Lunar New Year. So she's talking about these two different dates. Lunar New Year's Day changes according to each year, right? Okay. Now she says, we don't celebrate Lunar New Year in America. That's right. Obviously, we don't. We don't celebrate lunar, once again, according to or relating to the moon in America. So it's not really family time, she says. All right. So, yeah, that is the main difference. Of course, there are different traditions that are practiced, traditions that are followed in each and every country. But when it comes to New Year's Day, it's very different, especially in that New Year's Day in Korea is a very family-oriented holiday, whereas in America, it's not exactly family time. It's not a really family-oriented holiday. Okay? With that in mind, let's take a listen one more time.
Do you have any nieces or nephews?
I do now.
Yeah?
I'm married now, so I have a new family.
I remember when I lived in Japan, all my Japanese friends, I was 11 to 15 when I was living in Tokyo.
Wow.
And all my Japanese friends around the holidays suddenly had all this money. They were rich. I was like, where are you getting all this money? And it was always a competition. How much did you make this year?
Wow.
The tradition of giving children money on New Year's. And now, I didn't get to enjoy that as a child. But now that I'm an adult, now I have nieces and nephews. So I have to give money, the money I never got.
Yeah. So you're doubly out of pocket. Yeah. I'm in exactly the same situation, actually.
Yeah.
I have two nieces here now.
Okay.
So every new year that rolls around, all the family gets together and they do all of the traditional Korean things, such as, giving thanks to ancestors, visiting the grave, and then bowing to your elders.
Yeah.
And the nieces bow to us, and then we give them money. And exactly as you said, I didn't get the money, and now I have to give out the money.
Yeah.
And they love it. It's fantastic. Do you guys do anything similar to that in America?
Not really, no. I think New Year's isn't really so family-oriented in America.
Okay.
Here I feel like, because there's the two New Years. You have the Western New Year's, which is on January 1st, and then you have Lunar New Year, which is in February, right? So we don't celebrate Lunar New Year in America.
Okay.
So yeah, it's not really family time.
No.
Welcome back, everyone. It's time for actual expressions. Now, in this corner, what do? We refresh our memory. We review the vocab words we saw in the actual talk conversation and also take a look at the patterns, idioms, and phrases, and even go over a few sample sentences to show you how they can be used in an actual sentence. So here we go. We've got 3 vocab words for you. Doubly. Here we go. Stress goes on the first syllable. It's doubly. Doubly. Not doubly. It's doubly. Doubly. 2 syllables. And it means twofold. Double. Twice. 2 times. Okay. Doubly. It's an adverb. And take a look at grave. Grave is an easy word, but just in case. Here are some synonyms that you can use in place of the word grave, which means burial place. Okay? Shrine isn't used as commonly, but you will see the word shrine quite often in Korea when you're talking about, historical places. All right? So you would see somebody's shrine or even talk about tombs, but much more commonly, grave is used. What about lunar? As I told you, lunar. It's in relation to the moon. Lunar, as in lunar calendar. Okay, moving on to our first pattern for today. Be out of pocket. Be out of pocket. If you can't remember what this means, think. Out of something means, I don't have any more left. Okay? So out of pocket means that you don't have money to spend. You're lacking money. All right? Here's a sample sentence. I won't be going on vacation this summer. I will not be going on vacation this summer. Why? I'm out of pocket right now. I don't have any money to spend. I'm lacking money, so I can't afford to go on that vacation. What about this one? Roll around. Also, remember, if you can't remember the definition of roll around, imagine that something is round and it rolls and it eventually comes back, okay? Like in a circle. In a circle, it rolls around. It comes back. Means to arrive again. Come around, okay? Usually, when something happens regularly, you can say that it rolls around. Here's a sample sentence. When do you think warm weather will roll around? Meaning, when do you think warm weather will return, come back? When do you think it will be warm again? Is just another way of putting it. Okay? Now let's take a look at this one. Family-oriented, which means adjusted in relation to family. Okay? Something is focused on family in this case. Something oriented. Here we go. I'm hoping to meet a family-oriented type of guy. Okay? I heard that many women that are planning or hoping to find someone to get married to really look for family-oriented guys. Okay? So one more time. I'm hoping to meet a family-oriented type of guy. Or simply, men and women could just say, I'm looking for a family-oriented person. You can say that in any situation. Okay, everyone, job well done. Practice more on your own.